Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. So I am not Parijata. I'm the substitute Parijata, substitute for Parijata. Uh, I'm very happy to be here. Just trying to put this mic on. Oh, Krishna Chaitanya. I just have to plug this in this side. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
I
Hi,
can.
Krishna.
Loud and clear.
Hi, Krishna. Thank you. We will try to have some fun. By hook or crook, I'm here. So let's start with your permission. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Ramanati Ravanachari Ramanati Ravanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanachari Jamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Damodare, Radha Damodare, Shri Radhe. Jayo Lalita Vishakha, Lalita Vishakha, Shri Radhe. Jayo Nitai Gaura Sundar, Nitai Gaura Sundar, Gaura Hari. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. How gracious assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. So continuing to read, thank you Tarka Prabhu for sharing. I kind of have if I may be allowed to share my screen, Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for doing that, because I do have some slides that I would like to share, and then we can read the verse. And if somebody would like to repeat the verse, you can kindly unmute yourself and feel free to repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayaudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter 14, verse number 34. Kvachit chittavatadiyaneka devika bhauti katmiyanam dukkhanam pratinivarane akalpo duranta vishaya vishashanam asate. Anybody would like to repeat? Okay, word to word translation. Synonyms, I'm sorry. Kvachit, sometimes. Seet, vat, adi, such as extreme cold or wind. Aneka, many. Devika, offered by the demigods or powers beyond our control. Bhautika, offered by other living entities. Atmiyanam, offered by the conditioned material body and mind. Dukkhanam, the many miseries. Pratini varane, in counteracting. Akalpaha, being unable. Duranta, insurmountable. Vishaya, from connection with sense gratification. Vishanaha, morose. Aste, he remains. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The conditioned soul suffers many miserable bodily conditions, such as being affected by severe cold and strong winds. He also suffers due to the activities of other living beings and due to natural disturbances. When he is unable to counteract them and has to remain in a miserable condition, he naturally becomes very morose because he wants to enjoy the material facilities. He wants to enjoy material facilities. Verse 35. Kvachin mitho vyavaharan yat kinchid dhanam upayati vittasatyena. Kvachit, sometimes or somewhere, mitha vyavaharan, transacting with each other, yat, whatever, kinchit, little bit, dhanam, material benefit or wealth, upayati, he obtains, vitta satyena, by means of cheating someone of his wealth. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sometimes conditioned souls exchange money, but in due course of time, enmity arises because of cheating. Although there may be a tiny profit, the conditioned souls cease to be friends and become enemies. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 5th chapter, verse number 8. Pumsam striya methuni bhavametam tayor mitho hridaya grantimahu atho griha kshetra sutapta vitte janasya mohoya mahamameti. The monkey-like conditioned soul first becomes attached to sex, and when intercourse actually takes place, he becomes more attached. He then requires some material comforts, apartment, house, food, friends, wealth, and so on. In order to acquire these things, he has to cheat others, and this creates enmity even among the most intimate friends. Sometimes this enmity is created between the conditioned soul and the father or spiritual master. Unless one is firmly fixed in the regulative principles, one may perform mischievous acts, even if one is a member of the Krishna consciousness movement. We therefore advise our disciples to strictly follow the regulative principles. Otherwise, the most important movement for the upliftment of humanity will be hampered due to dissension among its members. Those who are serious about pushing forward this Krishna consciousness movement should remember this and strictly follow the regulative principles so that their minds will not be disturbed. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namastute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priyai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. The conditioned soul suffers many miserable bodily conditions, such as being affected by severe cold and strong winds. He also suffers due to the activities of other living beings and due to natural disturbances. When he is unable to counteract them and has to remain in a miserable condition, he naturally becomes very morose because he wants to enjoy the material facilities. Sometimes conditioned souls exchange money, but in due course of time, enmity arises because of cheating. Although there may be a tiny profit, the conditioned souls cease to be friends and become enemies. All right, so let's go. And please feel free to stop me to share anything, question, reflection, realization. I was thinking I wanted to discuss this in three aspects, these two verses. First is Prabhupada is explaining that the conditioned soul is suffering from three kinds of klesha, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, and Adhyatmic. And it's not able to find a way to get out, makes it actually more painful because we want to enjoy, but then we have to suffer. So let's start with that. Okay, what is the goal of life for most of the people? A house by the sea, a color TV, and an MP3, right? So sounds like a nice life. A house by the sea, a color TV, and an MP3. So this is the ideal. So what is the real? This is the real. This is from A Plight of a Man is a wonder indeed. This is from Mahabharata. I think you all might already know it, but please allow me to take you on a tour one more time here. So there was this man who actually represents a conditioned soul who was running. He ran all this way because he was chased by a elephant. Not knowing what to do, he climbed up the tree and then he somehow slipped and was hanging by the branch. Now what's happening here? That the branch is eaten by these two rats, black and white. And down when he looks, there is this lake filled with poisonous snakes. And above, between the two branches, there is this honeycomb. Because of the shaking of the branches, because of his weight, the bees are getting disturbed. So they are coming and biting him. And then because of all the shaking, few drops of honey are coming down. So forgetting all this person sticks his tongue out and tries to adjust his tongue so that he can taste few drops of honey, you see. So let's see what is the allegorical comparison here. So I said the man represents the conditioned soul. The elephant represents the death, which is always chasing. And then these day and night, the black and white rats are representing day and night. So we're hanging by the thread, but our life has been eaten day and night by the day and night, or the time factor. The snakes under here in the lake, the poisonous snakes represents the major problems of life, the major reactions. This bite of the honeybees represents small problems of life. Like we call it small, like every day-to-day problems of living. Forgetting all this, what keeps us going is this taste of honey, a little bit taste. And then there is this fourth dimension, which is Krishna, where he's waiting. That give me your hand, I can actually take you out from all this calamity, but we are very busy, our conditioned soul is very busy in tasting the honey. So it becomes morose, there's so much pain, there's elephant, there's snake, there's honeybees, there's these rats. It's not a very comfortable situation to be in if somebody is literally like that. But we stay focused in honey. Okay, we become morose, but that's a part of life. So this is what I thought was accountable to this. Then Krishna also explains that the conditioned soul suffers. And the suffering starts from sense gratification. What's the reference? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse number 22. This verse is very nice. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adi antavanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. So it says, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga. Bhoga means enjoyment. Samsparshaja. Sparsha means touch. So the enjoyment that comes by way of touch of the senses and sense objects, dukkha yonaya evate, is actually very miserable, is the beginning of a miserable life. He's saying that, Krishna is saying this to Arjuna. Why is it miserable? We struggle so hard. Why? Because he says in the next line, Adi anta vanta konteya. Adi means beginning, anta means end. Because such pleasure has a beginning and an end, O son of Kunti, na teshu ramate buddha. A person who is Buddha or intelligent does not seek satisfaction in such kind of enjoyment. So Prabhupada translates, an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses, O son of Kunti. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. If I may please ask, is my voice echoing? Because it's echoing for me here, but I don't know if it is echoing for all of you. Can you please let me know? Okay, no, okay, thank you. So, okay, let's see. Is it only the human being or is it everybody? So, touch of the senses and the sense objects. Let's see. The vision is very strong in the moth. In the rainy season, if you look outside on a lamp, there are moths which get attracted to the light because of the vision. Then what happens? Because they get attracted, they go and attach themselves to the hot bulb, and then they get fried. So vision. And then the sense of hearing, sorry. So a deer is caught by the flute. The hunter is playing a flute, very melodious tune, and the deer is running behind. So the ear leads him to the trap of the deer, to the trap of the hunter, sorry. Honeybee. Now, honeybee has a very strong sense of smell. So, you know, what happens? It goes to collect nectar from flower to flower, and it gets so absorbed in that collection of the nectar that when the sun sets in the evening and the flower closes, it gets trapped and dies. So the sense of smell, then the sense of taste. You know how the fish is caught, right? The bait is thrown. There's so much food in the water, in the lake or ocean, wherever the fish may be. But the poor fish gets attracted to this bait, and then the sense of taste takes it out. And then the sense of touch. Elephant, such a big animal, is caught by the hunter because of its predominant sense of touch. You know, they dig a hole, they dig a pit, cover it with the branches, and then they train a she elephant to go and allure the he elephant. And then the she elephant is trained to go around the pit, and the he elephant goes in the pit. So in the animal kingdom, one sense is very prominent, right? But what is the condition of a human being? Every sense is prominent. So very moroseful situation, you know, we're very moroseful. Every sense, because every sense is pulling here, pulling there. So it's not a very comfortable life. And then we post on the social media, you know, the social media feed, which is so prominent in today's world. And what happens that we post our happy faces. Nobody is posting their crying life. But what is the result? The result is the faces are very happy, but the hearts are very crying. So happy faces, crying hearts. This is a result of getting succumbed to this material energy that has been described in verse number 34. Okay, I'm going to just play not knowing the real goal of life, we pass through all this and then enter the grave without actually realizing what it was. So this is what is happening in the outside world. You know, it's good to know the reality of what the virtual reality of a person who's not in Krishna consciousness is, and the real reality of what Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras are teaching us. So this is the aspect from the material platform. Now, Krishna also validates that we are struggling. How are we struggling? Krishna says in 15th chapter Bhagavad Gita, verse number 7, Mamevansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashashte indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they're struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. So he says, Mam eva ansha. Ansha means part, right? My part. Jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatanaha. So all living entities are my part always. Sanatanaha. Always they are my part. It's not that they're my part when they are in a conditioned state of life and then they don't remain as my part when they come back to the spiritual world. No, Krishna is saying you're always my part. But in this particular platform where we are, by virtue of hook or crook or choices that one may have made, mana shashta indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Karshati Prabhupada translates as struggle. What is the reason for struggle according to Krishna? Because we are situated in prakriti. Sthani means situated. Prakriti means material nature. Because of being situated in the material nature, there is struggle. So which automatically gives the intelligent clue that if I can be out of this situation of a material nature, I don't need to struggle. Because that's what Krishna is saying. Prakriti sthani karshati. Struggling because of being sthani in prakriti or situated in the material nature. So he's giving a hint of what the problem is and also what the solution is. Now there is this pastime of Avanti Brahman in 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's a story, it's a very long chapter. The story is Avanti Brahman in his earlier life is an agriculturalist and he's very rich. He's very rich, but he is very miser. He is not so loving and he wants to hoard everything. So because of all these qualities, despite of having so much opulence and richness, by virtue of his qualities and by virtue of the predicament, his family members, his relatives, people in general dislike him. They disown him. And because of his karma, everything that he owned actually goes away. You know, he becomes like a monk, or it becomes like a very poor person. Sorry. So Avanti Brahman, when he really becomes a poor person, he actually sits down with himself and thinks, this is what he thinks. What is the cause of the real happiness and distress? What is the real cause? You know, he's reasoning out. Is the cause of my happiness and distress other people, mortal persons? Because of them, I am suffering? Or is the cause of my unhappiness or distress are the demigods? You know, because if Indra is happy, we get the rain. If he's not happy, then we get the flood or we get the drought. Or is it my own soul, which is the cause of happiness or distress? Or, you know, the ruling planets, you know, astrology, you know, Prabhuji, Mataji, your time is not good. The ruling planets are not situated properly. You have to do this puja, this, that. Is that the cause? Is that the cause of my unhappiness, of my happiness and distress in the material world? Or is it because of my own karma? You know, I'm getting the result of my own karma from previous activities. Or is it the time factor? So after becoming a mendicant, he actually tries to analyze what is the cause. And this is what he concludes. He concludes these all things, the mortal people, mortal persons, the demigods, the soul, the ruling planet, the reactions of work, time, are not the cause of one's happiness or distress. Not the cause. So what is the cause? The cause is mind alone is the cause. So one's own mind is the cause basically of succumbing to all the kleshas, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik and Adi Devik, everything. And now since we are talking about the wealth, in the same chapter, it is explained because he was so wealthy, right? He was so opulent and so rich. But he analyzes that, that wealth actually brings forth 15 unwanted items. If somebody is very rich, they're not in Krishna consciousness, 15 unwanted items are coming with every single time their bank balance goes up. What is it? Thievery, violence, lying, deception, lust, anger, pride, feverishness, disagreement, hatred, distrust, conflict, attachment to women, gambling, intoxication. All these things are coming along with the money that we are earning if it is not used for the proper cause. Every single time. So he actually decides to become what does he do in his life? He decides to become a sannyasi, a three-dandi sannyasi, and goes to beg from one house to another. And sometimes he would face a lot of blasphemy, but he decided to just tolerate. And then he wrote a very famous thing called Bhikshu Gita. So that was the way of him becoming surrendered to Krishna. His own money that was bringing him all these things actually brought the loss of that money brought him to Krishna. So I wanted to discuss that what does money represent in our relationships, in our relationships? Where does this money stand? Because verse number 35, Prabhupada is talking about money, right? That because I want to enjoy, and so I need to have money. And then if I have money, then I have a buying power. So is that what money really represents? I just want to quote one reference, which is not from the Shastras, but it is from the world of pediatrics. There's a very nice psychologist called John Gottman. He's done a lot of work in child psychology. So this thing was researched that what does money actually represent in a relationship. So he went ahead and actually asked 80-year-old students, 80-year-old children in a class. He gave them a scenario and he wanted to know their response, that how they're going to respond. The scenario he gave them was, so he said, okay, children, there is a father and sorry, the father, they both, and mother have money, and the father, I don't have water here, so I'm sorry. The father wants to spend the money. And what is his reasoning? He doesn't want to save it for future. What is his reasoning? His reasoning is that because all his life, when he was a child, he saw Uncle Jack saving money. He had millions and millions of dollars. Saving money. He lived in one bedroom apartment. And at the end, what happened? He grew old, he had disease, and he died. So he was not able to enjoy that money. So he tells the 8-year-old children that, okay, so that's why the father part of the relationship, where the money is there between mother and father, wants to doesn't want to spend. Doesn't want to save, but spend. On the other hand, the mother, her background is that she says that she has lived a very poverty-stricken life all her life, because her mom was an alcoholic. So her mom would rather spend money for buying alcohol than giving food. So she wants to be cautious. She wants to make better choices. She wants to save. So he puts it out to the 8-year-olds in the classroom, and this is a real thing. And then he asks, okay, children, what are you going to do? How are you going to solve this dilemma? So we think 8-year-old will not know anything about money, but interestingly, the 8-year-old answers, one hand goes up and says, come to a midpoint, save some and spend some, which logically sounds like a very nice conclusion, right? Save some and spend some. But that's not really the adult's mind works. The adult mind, because for them, the money represents, like, for example, the father part of the case scenario that I just discussed, his relationship with the money is that he wants to, this is his identity. If he wears expensive clothes, if he goes in wealthy or expensive vacations, that's how he identifies himself. So money actually represents the identity, the security. For the mother, on the other hand, it represents an asset, a commodity. So many a times, Prabhupada is writing in the verse 35 that the conditioned soul wants to make profit, but is always cheating. There could be a little profit, but in the long run, the partners, they fall apart because of the cheating propensities, because we want to have money. This happens not only in the business partners, but in many other relations, friends, couples, or even in transactions. day-to-day transactions, right? In India, if you go to shop and you buy the thing that it is priced for, you are cheated because you have to bargain. You have to bargain. So basically, everybody is trying to see what's their profit is. So one aspect of leading a healthy Krishna conscious life, I learned personally from this particular verse 35 is define what money represents. Does it represent an asset? Does it represent a symbol of power? Does it represent a commodity, a sense of safety, or sense of security? What does it mean to each one of us who are in various kinds of relationships? Like I have 2 children, I have to think. Or if you are married, then you have to think. Like everybody will have their own individual perspective, but have a base foundation or a standing in society. What does it represent? So I'll leave this food for thought for you. Now coming to the last part, that what can we solve the problem? So far I've discussed that there are 3 kinds of sufferings. The conditioned soul is looking for a house by the sea, a color TV, and an MP3. But then the Mahabharata is talking about the plight of a man is a wonder indeed. And then Krishna is saying in 5th chapter that enjoyment that one is deriving from the touch of sense and sense objects is actually very painful. It's actually a beginning of one's painful life because it has a beginning and an end. And we discussed that Avanti Brahman, poor guy, was so rich. He became so poor. Not only did he become very poor, but he actually lost all his relationships also in the world. He was forced. And then he forced to become a sannyasi. Then he came to the senses and started thinking that what is it really, what is the cause of my happiness and distress? Is the cause my bad astrological chart? Is the cause the demigods? Is the cause my soul? Is the cause other people? What is the cause? He comes to the conclusion that my mind is the cause, because my mind is attached to the Vishaya. Prabhupada explains the word Vishaya in 3rd chapter, 3rd canto Bhagavatam as object, Vishaya, object of enjoyment, because the mind is attached to it. Now, then I left you with a food for thought that what does money really represent in our own life, individually and collectively? How do we see each other in terms of, are we seeing each other, evaluating each other on terms of how much money we are making? What does it really mean? Now, and I also discussed John Gottman's example, his study with 8-year-old. So Albert Einstein said this, right? We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So 4th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 29, where Narad Muni is talking to King Prachina after he has, very nicely explained the allegorical story of Puranjani, and his next life of Puranjana, where he becomes a woman. Then Prachina explain the whole thing again. So he's saying, that you see, if somebody is hallucinating in the dream and is very, very absorbed in that hallucination in the dream, is thinking that that's the reality, then what is the solution? The solution is not going to be that you dream again another dream. The solution is going to be get up, get out of the dream, just wake up, right? So our Guru Sadhu Shastra principle actually helps us to get up. So that's why conviction is very important. This is how material education is. Material education means it's actually not an education. The word education means which actually gives us values. It should be material skills. It gives us skills, how to live and earn our living. It's not really an education. But anyway, for the sake of discussion, let's say material education. It's slow to begin. So the x-axis is the time factor and the y-axis is the progress. And then it actually progresses very fast at some point. And then we hit the plateau. Now what? Now what? Everybody's looking for retirement after some time. Even the prime minister or the president wants to retire with good benefits, right? But what is the spiritual education? Spiritual education is a spiral. It actually begins and it keeps on growing, keeps on growing, keeps on growing, keeps on growing. So our realization sorry, our realization, if we keep up with our Krishna consciousness and association of the devotees, then the realizations keep growing. We can read the same verse, same thing again and again and again. So the solution is not going to be to have some sort of a mindset, a growth mindset, or increase my self-esteem of who I am. I'm not saying those things are not important, but that's not the solution, is what I'm proposing, of all the problems that we just discussed. Or, people take this therapy, that medication. Yes, they can act as a support system. But the reality is they're not going to solve the main problem, because the main problem is in the mind, because the heart is dirty, right? So spiritual knowledge is one proposal I want to give. So we have a choice, because we are in Krishna consciousness. We have a choice. We want to be bound or we want to be free. So there is a propensity to love in a conditioned soul. And if it is harnessed into, I'm so sorry. If it is harnessed into positive energy by Krishna consciousness in the mode of goodness, then love actually can become an eternal bliss. But if the same love turns into lust, or a tendency to be the center of enjoyment and exploit and be a center of attention for everybody around us, then it turns into wrath, which turns into illusion, which leads us to mode of ignorance, then which continues our suffering. Right? So the very clear, two pathways are very clear. So going to Krishna is a solution to all the problems. Why? I just want to bring this verse from Chaitanya Chaitamrita because it's very impactful to me. Adi Lila chapter 2 verse 52. He sabhara darshane te ache maya gandha turya krishnera nahi mayera sambandha. Superficially, we see that these Purushas have a relationship with Maya, but above them, in the fourth dimension, is Lord Krishna, who has no contact with material energy. In this verse, Krishna is called Turya. Turya means fourth dimension. This verse is describing that the three Purushas, three Purusha avatar, or Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and Shridakshay Vishnu, they have a relationship with Maya, but Krishna is in the fourth dimension. That's why he's called Turya. What makes Krishna Turya? Are there other factors which make Krishna Turya? Because Krishna can take us out. He can take me out. Why? Krishna is not bound by the three domains of the time factor, past, present, future. He's beyond that fourth dimension. Krishna is not bound by the three planetary systems, upper, middle, lower. Krishna is not bound by the three bodies, gross body, subtle body, spiritual body. So in so many ways, Krishna is Turya. And going to Krishna, Krishna is not bound by these three kleshas, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, and Adhyatmik. He's not, he's Turya. So if we approach unanimously and collectively or individually to a personality like this, I think we are saved, because Krishna has no contact with the material energy, and all the sufferings are because of the Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Remember, Prakriti Sthani, situated in the material energy, one is suffering, but Krishna has no contact with the material energy. So just wanted to say that we have heard of the vaccinating effect of the holy name, right? Like vaccinating effect, before even the disease enters the body, we can actually prevent from getting too sick if it happens. So that's, if we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we actually nullify so many karmic activities. We have heard of it. We have also heard of the antibiotic effect of the holy name. If somebody is suffering, they chant the holy name of the Lord, the suffering is minimized. It's antibiotic effect. But now I think the time is to let's meditate on the restorative effect of the holy name. All the trauma that the material energy has caused, and the trauma is sitting in the subtle body and the gross body, the restorative effect is the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To explain what I'm trying to say, I wanted to give an example, which I heard from Shri Shakti Mataji, which I'm grateful for. An example of a splinter. You know, if you ever been like poked by a wooden chip or a splinter, that thing is very painful. Very small, but very painful. So what is the way to get it out? It's extremely painful, but the way to get it out is to actually go through the layers of the skin, get to the splinter and take it out. So let's say I go to my mom and I say, Mom, please take this splinter out. And my mom takes a safety pin and she starts to peel the layers of my skin, which is also painful. But I actually am surrendered. I have full faith in my mother, that my mother is causing me the pain, but she's causing me this pain so that she can take the deep pain, which is caused by the splinter in my finger, out. So I surrender to my mother with a complete conviction and faith. Okay, cause me the pain, but get rid of this deep-rooted pain. So this is how the vision of a devotee is. Okay, I am suffering. I'm not denying. I am in a painful situation, but this can be a setting ground for a progressive march in Krishna consciousness. So ultimately, I don't have to go through the same thing again. Ultimately. Okay, so the restorative effect of the holy name of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So what happens? How the restorative effect happens, this is explained by Krishna in 7th chapter Bhagavad Gita, verse number 1. I'll just go over the I'll just go over the tabular table that we have. So Krishna is the absolute truth. And Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The absolute truth can be realized as a Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. I'm not going into details because I think everybody in this class knows Brahman is impersonal, Paramatma is localized, Bhagavan is personality. A living entity is a spirit soul. This is all from Purport of Prabhupada, 471. And by different yoga processes, can actually elevate itself to a level of self-realization. If somebody is doing Jnana Yoga, then they come to the level of Brahman realization. Somebody is doing Ashtanga Yoga, they come to the realization of Paramatma, which are both partial. Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga lead us to a partial realization. But Bhakti Yoga leads us to the full realization, which is Bhagavan feature. Why? Because concentrating and focusing mind on Krishna by engaging in the 9 processes of devotional service, which begins with the hearing about Krishna and his devotees, and by constant hearing the Lord or Paramatma, he purifies the heart. From the right source, of course. When these qualities and pastimes and form of Krishna enters the ear, they go and churn the heart. Paramatma becomes satisfied, we become purified. And then we develop the transcendental knowledge. And then we become fixed in the knowledge. And what is the use of becoming fixed in this knowledge of Krishna consciousness? We become free from the modes of passion and ignorance, lust and greed. Impurities are wiped out, and become situated in pure goodness at one point in life. And becomes enlivened in devotional service, understands science of Krishna perfectly, and then complete knowledge of the absolute truth is established. So the restorative effect, this is how the restoration is going on the right side, the yellow boxes. Everything is given. So I would like to end the class by Prabhupada's 1-minute Kirtan, which is, I think, is in the Golden Gate Park. the restorative effect here, that all the hippies are singing Ishwar Prabhupada, they will be restored to their natural constitutional position. Okay, I invite any sort of questions, reflection, realizations, corrections at this point. Thank you for being here, for my encouragement. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Good morning, Prema-Kishori
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Wow, thank you for such a wonderful class and so comprehensive. And I think mostly what I got, the main point I got is that no matter what we think we have or what we think we accomplish here, it's not going to amount to anything useful if we do it without Krishna consciousness. And the minute that we add even just chanting the holy name one time, things begin to change and we begin to find out who we really are. And then we begin to understand that everything we have belongs to Krishna, and then we can use it properly. And so it's just beautiful. And you're an example of that. I've seen that in you so many times at Gita Nagari, just serving and offering and sharing with the devotees and serving Srila Prabhupada and the Lord. So thank you for the living example of that and for such a really comprehensive and wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the words of encouragement. I've been much dear to you. I'm grateful. But I think the platform is provided by the devotees of Gita Nagari for each one of us to come and contribute, a little bit. Thank you, Prema-Kishori Mataji. Anybody else would like to share? We have 8 minutes. Rashdev Prabhu, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Tarka Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for a wonderful class. As per usual, your classes are always spectacular and both informative and entertaining. Right from the get-go was great. I do have a question. One of your slides listed a bunch of problems with the possession of wealth, and I was trying to understand, right? Yes, the unwanted items. I'm wondering where this list is derived from.
Yes, this is from 11th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. I just copied. I can, from Avanti Brahman's pastime, I can share. It's in the beginning. Sorry about my cough. So, chapter number 23. And there's a list in this particular part. It comes with the 15 things. This one. He considered how the earning and preservation of wealth involve great effort, fear, anxiety, and confusion. This is the one, Tarka Prabhu.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you like to contribute anything? Your contributions are always amazing.
Your class was very comprehensive. I can't imagine what I could contribute. I'm actually still trying to absorb it all. You've almost left my head spinning. It has stimulated so much reflection. But I'm struck by the clarity that comes by the manner in which you've made this presentation, the graphic images greatly enhance the ability to understand and comprehend and envision the ideas and the principles. A lot conveyed in a short time, but it becomes very clear the whole path of progress clearly illuminated. It's very impressive. I appreciate that very, very much. It takes some time and effort to put together a slideshow like that, and I appreciate the effort. It's very nice. It's
Thank you.
this is the gold standard for a Srimad Bhagavatam class. Combination of spoken words and graphic images is very powerful. Does an excellent job of conveying ideas. It would be wonderful if we all had the time to do that. It's just such a powerful presentation. Anyway, I thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhu Krishna. If there's no other question. Anyone? Okay, maybe one reflection can be shared by each one of us in the class. So I'll speak the names out of the devotees, and you just have to like share one reflection. If I may please request from the bottom of my heart. We'll start at the bottom of the list. Yaha, Y-A-H.
Hi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is my first time attending this Srimad Bhagavatam class, so thank you. I would say one reflection that I had, it was a very beautiful and comprehensive.
Can you be a little loud? Can you be a little louder, if I may request?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, it was very beautiful and comprehensive, very easy for me to understand, especially being in the beginning of this journey. But one reflection that I do have is on the slide, what was it? It was a flow chart of the knowledge of the absolute. And it showed the spirit, soul, Lord Krishna. And basically a reflection that I did have was, and something that because I'm currently reading the Bhagavad Gita, and a reflection that I did have and that I keep seeing is Jnana Yoga. Is that how you say it?
Jnana Yoga. Jnana
Yes.
Yoga.
Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and then Bhakti Yoga, and the differences, and understanding the impersonal versus the personal connection to, and what actually derives material detanglement and coming back to Godhead and all of that. So that was just a reflection that I have.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shama Gopal Rupa Mataji. Would you like to share? I'm so sorry for this cough. Yashoda Mataji, Yashoda Devi. Yashte Prabhu wrote, he's appreciating the statement about vaccinating, purifying, relieving, and liberating potency of the holy names. Thank you. Jagannath Pandit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I think I agree with Tarka very much that this was very thorough and very clear, especially with the visuals. One of the things I liked was the situation with the Avanti Brahman. and the clarity of what actually causes happiness and distress is coming from our own mind. And wealth and so many other things, anything material is not really going to satisfy us.
Ah,
So yeah, thank you. That was wonderful.
thank you. Thank you. Ajamil Prabhu, would you like to share?
Hare Krishna, Mata.
Hi, Krishna.
Thank you again for such a wonderful class. I'm sorry I came late this morning, so I didn't get the beginning essence of everything. But I feel that the processes, that the 9 processes out of all of them, hearing is so important. And I find that I have this desire to hear and to hear is what the Lord is saying in the scriptures. So I think I'm just trying to, my takeoff is to continue to listen and continue to hear and to continue to try and implement some of those aspects into my life on a daily basis. So today I'm just trying to hear about the Lord, and thank you for sharing. And of course, being an AV guy, I love when you do the presentations with visuals and things like that, because it reinforces what you're saying. It reinforces how we can begin to understand this particular process, the repetition and all those things. So I just want to thank you very much for your the way that you present and the opportunity you give for us to hear and visually see this process. So just I just like to say thank you. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you for the nice reflection. Then, and thank you for the words of encouragement. And it's very important that we concentrate on the hearing. Thank you. I appreciate. Okay, it's 8:02, so I will take it to Prabhupada. Very soon we'll start or rather Damodar maybe, the message, it will open. Jagannath Pandit Prabhu, thank you. I should start a school. You're a natural teacher. So let's go. Thank you, everyone. Yogescha, Kapasantuve Evacha, Patitanam Pavinibhyo, Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Nantakoti Vaishnavin ki jai, Shubhapat ki jai. Hare Krishna. So I'll take the computer to the altar, which will open any minute. Tantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Yeah, 27.
What chapter?
Chapter 14 chapter. Verse 34 and 35. Yeah, that's I think. But here we have been morning. But in relation, you have the link.
We also do our
Which temple?
sponsoring.
Okay.
There is nine.
Okay. Same with this.